So I was like, okay, great. So I guess you want to buy the film. And I'm like, no, we don't want to buy the film, but we thought about, doing a story about it on Foreign Correspondent. And I was like, okay, great. Okay, yeah, that will promote my film. That would be great. So so they still hurts telling the story because it's the worst thing that happened to me so far, I must admit. In my work career, of course, and there was some bad things, but this is the worst, the lowest of the lowest that somebody would do that. And it was worth it, all the sacrifices I made.
Yeah, that's amazing. Congratulations. I mean,
thank you.
I think that this is, I think, I've only scratched the surface, like in terms of like a filmmaker journey, in terms of, last year I had quit my corporate role and decided I wanted to go after, getting into filmmaking. And I was doing it the other way around, though. I was kind of just self-taught and YouTube podcast, different events, and just basically starting out doing small jobs, just the typical story, and trying to ladder my way up. And but it gave me such an appreciation, and even now, I just think it's just such a monumental effort that relies on so many moving parts, so many different people, so many favors. I can see like why people get emotional when they win different awards. I imagine in my head, because it's just the sort of person I am. Like I can't help, like even like at the beginning, I can't help thinking about winning the Academy Award of something. But I just think, like it would be really emotional because you put so much on the line. Yeah.
Exactly, it's your baby, everything. And it's such a long gestation period that you just go like, oh my god, I can't believe I did it.
Yes, and so now you've had so you won the Berlin International Film Festival award recently.
Yeah.
What other have you picked up? I know you've been in a number of them, but I don't know how many others you've won. What other laurels do you have at the moment?
Well, I have starting to collect quite a bit actually.
Yeah.
I had the Impact Doc Award. There's an American one. It's pretty. I'm very proud of that one. So how my film made an impact. So that was one of the biggest actually in America, the Impact Doc Award. That one, then Life After Oil, Best Doc of feature documentary, and then I got like actually toured all Australia. I went to cinemas with Palace Cinemas, actually. So we had 32 projection screenings all over Australia, which was I was really proud of. I got hit a bit by the media, which was great. Then what else? I went to America to did another cinema tour through an Italian film festival there. Yeah, went through different cities around, which was great. Then I don't know, they toured a lot. It's actually really great how much, and it's still like they ring me up saying, "Hey, can you show your film? Can we still screen it?" And I'm very proud of my little baby.
Yeah, that's awesome. How do you? I mean, how do you finance that travel? Just out of curiosity, how do you manage to be able to go to do that work?
Well, a lot of times, it's off by cinemas or, the film festivals. So they do cover the costs, which is great, and they pay for the screenings. And, it's just really, it's actually quite good now. You're starting to, reap a little bit of benefits. It's not, of course, it's not a lot, but it covers at least your trips and things, and,
Yeah.
and to keep going with your work.
Yeah, yeah. definitely. That's great. Yeah. So tell us about some of your other projects. Like, what was the first thing that you had that, I guess, then went out and aired, and where did it screen?
So the first project. So
Yeah.
the first project was a short doc that called "Live Through This," and
Yeah.
was a beautiful story, an Aboriginal story of an Aboriginal man that lost his mother because his dad killed her. Basically, it was a domestic violence incident, and it was very touching. And it concluded that after this guy struggled a lot after his mother was killed by his father, he ended up meeting his dad again, and and saying to his dad that he forgave him, and it was a really beautiful, touching story of a father and son relationship, and that won a lot of awards, and always traveled the world too in film festivals, and I think that one made me realize that okay, maybe I know how to do this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be okay. So yeah, no, that was great.
That's
And then
awesome.
the one that I'm finishing for Al Jazeera, which it's about COVID. It's a Milan COVID story.
Yes.
Yeah, it just happened. I received a call saying, Al Jazeera would like, to see if you have a story for them from Milan during COVID times, and so I found a guy that was actually in production, film production, and he was doing volunteering for the Carabinieri, the alternative Italian police,
Right.
the paramilitary police, and
Yeah.
and they were, he was working at the COVID-19 hotline, so the emergency hotline. So I followed him for a month, and I made a documentary called Emergency 112, which is the number that you call. And and it's coming out soon. And Al Jazeera would like to send it also to film festival because they think it's really strong film. And so it's a 25-minute doc for the witness. So you might find it soon. It will come out very shortly. So Emergency 112 from Al Jazeera Witness.
Emergency 112. I'll pop that up there as well. So tell me about working with Al Jazeera. So how did they come by you to start with?
Somebody that was working at Al Jazeera actually contacted me on Instagram saying, I've been following your work. I heard that, I work for Al Jazeera and they're looking for stories of COVID, and you are in Milan in the hotspot. Would you be able to get in touch with us and see if, you have a story that is strong for us to do?
Yeah.
And so they offered me this commission, and it was an amazing journey. They're a great team. They really look after the filmmakers. I must admit that's really great and refreshing. After I got screwed over by ABC Correspondent, Foreign Correspondent, I can tell you that working with this other channel is a completely different thing.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. So now, I mean, you put it out there. So tell us what happened in terms of Foreign Correspondent.
Yeah. So that was on the Australian a few times as well. Like, we denounced that, and we got lawyers involved. It was, that was a very dark time, and it was very, very unlawful from them. So when my film came out in Australia and was doing really well. Actually, I got invited to different channels, the morning news and things like that, to talk about it. The Australian ran, the story, like they did a full page on it. It was amazing. Wow. Yeah. Really, really a lot of people connected to the film. And I got contacted by the ABC saying, oh, wow, we love the story. And, and can you get in touch with us? Like, okay, cool. So I was like, okay, great. So I guess you want to buy the film. And I'm like, no, we don't want to buy the film, but we thought about, doing a story about it on Foreign Correspondent. And I was like, okay, great. Okay, yeah, that would promote my film, that would be great. So yeah, so they still hurts telling the story, because it's the worst thing that happened to me so far, I must admit. In my work career, of course, you know, and there was some bad things, but this is the worst, the lowest of the lowest that somebody would do that. So I said, okay, well, what's the story? So, you know, are you going to talk about my film, and, you know, and how, you know, I came up with the story? Like, are you going to tell the real story, that you found this story because of my film, and because this, and it's important that my film and my research, because if you watch it, my film has 5 years worth of research. It was the biggest part, is finding people, reading all the documents, the court hearings, you know, all these sorts of things.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, sure, of course, you know, they put it in writing, saying, yeah, we acknowledge that, you know, we know about this because of you. You're going to help us getting all the people, and we'll get you involved, and blah, blah, blah. So at the end, they sent Emma Alberici to Sardinia. And yeah, and she screwed me very well.
Wow.
She took the story, she replaced me with her, basically. They copied everything. They actually they got me to give them all my contacts, and which I did, because I was like, well, they, you know, I was there helping me. They interviewed me and everything. So you know, it was part of the story. So I helped them, and I thought, that's great. So we're going to talk about my film. You know, what's happening, the problem is going to be promoted. You know, everybody wins. You know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Instead, she basically made a copy of my film, basically, like shot by shot, even the same angle of the camera in the same spot. I had to get a lawyer. I made a document, a PDF folder of 38 pages with, you know, Emma Alberici film and Balentes, shot by shot, storyline by storyline. Everything was exactly the same as my film, and they didn't give me any money for the rights, nothing at all. They ended up removing it. They sold it even to Al Jazeera before I started working, so Al Jazeera had no idea. So I made so much money out of my 5-year work. So
that's terrible.